Oh yeah,
Yeah,
appreciate
Zay.
that.
Oh,
We seen that,
yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Big congratulations, bro.
Hey, what is going on? What is going on? Welcome to Black Bitcoin Billionaires, the Genesis Block live this morning here on Facebook, on YouTube, and also on Clubhouse, man. It's real good to be here this morning. Hey, first of all, like somebody just said, congratulations to Bitcoin Zay. Not only was it his birthday, but it was also his Earth Day. You know what I'm talking about now. But he got engaged this weekend, so we'll call it his Worth Day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Good stuff, Bitcoin Zay, man. Really good stuff, man. But yeah, well, let's start breaking down some of these news stories, because I was watching a little bit of your show this morning. While we had the good Reverend Nathan come to our closed room earlier this morning. But yeah, go ahead, Bitcoin Zay. Tell us what's going on out here in the world of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies.
Oh yeah. So today was a light news day, but we had some pretty big news stories. The first one being Visa. They're settling USDC, which is a stable coin, on Ethereum, and they plan to roll it out to their partners. Again, Visa has, been at the forefront of trying to build crypto infrastructure for payments. We've seen that with their Visa cards on Fold, and now they're allowing you to use USDC transactions, and the ability to do that on Visa will allow you to transact on Ethereum. Hopefully, nobody is going to buy a $2 coffee and have to pay an $80 gas fee. But we'll see if Ethereum can fix the scaling there, and then go from there. Our second big story of the day was about NFTs. They were featured on Saturday Night Live. So for those of you who watch Saturday Night Live, this may be a top indicator for you that the top may be in for a lot of the pricing. But Saturday Night Live actually did a skit where Pete Davidson played Eminem, and he basically had a rap about NFTs and what they are. And they had a fake Janet Yellen up there as a teacher. So if you want to check that out on Saturday Night Live, they've gotten to the NFT space as well. So it looks as though it's expanding everywhere. And for those of you who don't know about NFTs or haven't experienced them, to me, all roads lead to Bitcoin, and this is a great entry way for people. So those are our main news stories for today. Not a lot of news on this Monday, but this week should get crazy with the price action.
Hey, thank you, Zay, man. We appreciate that. So here's the thing.
Yes,
couple things, man. First of all, I just want to say you can't have generational wealth unless you got generations following. And so Bitcoin Zay putting the ring on it this weekend, man, is an amazing thing. Hats off to him, man, because he's going to solidify his generation. You dig what I'm saying? So I appreciate that, man. So I just wanted to say that. But also, let's talk about these news stories. So I want to talk about the NFT one first, because like Zay said, it feels like it's the top. When Saturday Night Live starts doing a parody about you, it feels like that's the top, man. What do y'all say to that? What do y'all think about that? Do you think that that Saturday Night Live is signifying or signaling that, hey, maybe this whole NFT game might be a little bit oversaturated, or do you think we got some room to grow in that space as we move forward, man? I would love to hear from this panel of experts. Don't everybody jump at once.
Hey.
Oh, this is Charlene. I think that means we have room to grow. I was impressed. I think they did a really great job with kind of pushing through and demystifying NFTs. I think it's going to get folks excited about it. I hope they're Googling, and I hope they're creating some beautiful, wonderful digital art that can be sold.
Now, come on, Miss Charlene. You know it was corny. Now, come on. Let's be all the way with it.
But it was an on-ramp. Right?
True.
Like,
it was a corny on ramp. You know, it was 100% corny, like all the way corny. But I feel you, Miss Charlene. I feel you. Anybody else?
Yeah, it actually reminds me of there was a Simpsons episode about cryptocurrency and blockchain maybe 6 months ago, and it went into detail about what the blockchain was and what crypto is. And so I feel like now it's on Saturday Night Live for the NFT side, and it's just a slow progression into mainstream.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of upside as people start to build out the infrastructure and stuff like that, because it's also not just about art, but creators in general, right? Musicians, people being able to take ownership of their work, being able to put it out there, dancers as well, right? They can make all these videos and then put them in the NFT package, it take ownership of any signature moves that they have, which at one point in time was a huge thing about some of the games, ripping off different dancers and things of that nature. So I think it has room to grow. We will definitely see, though, if the infrastructure can support it, especially with the scaling issues and things of ETH. So we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, no, that's one thing I did notice in the skit. They were very heavy toward Ethereum because I guess they were just taking screenshots off of like OpenSea or something like that, right? But I think what's going to happen is people going to mess around and get interested and then run into a brick wall, like Zay said, trying to pay $90 for some gas fees. So I know Miss Charlene said this is an on-ramp, but does anybody think the opposite? Is there anyone that thinks that SNL covering it is signaling that maybe we might be a little bit overblown?
It could mean. I mean, like folks who've been here a while know that Ethereum is always good for good marketing and good hype. But then, you get to the gas fees and you see that, dang, I might have to pay a whole lot to be here. And numbers. And behind that, also bidding on just NFT space, it's going to get crazy. So yeah, it does show a lot of growth, but where there's always duality, right? So what lies to come with all that growth? What comes next with all the exposure? Because once the hype is there, then it might flatten out, and only the people who've been in for a while, who's been credible, can start making all the crazy money. But we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think it's the top yet. Only because, if market cycles like I know them and what I've been learning, I mean, we just in the first wave of, this new cycle. So just watching Bitcoin and its price, the NFT space is probably going to get a lot more crazy as well as we start to see like Bitcoin hitting newer all-time highs. So I just think we haven't seen the top yet, even though Saturday Night Live, is doing that corny stuff. But I think there's more to come, and you're gonna see crazy prices for NFTs and other things. I already see them. Like if anybody's been on that NBA Top Shot app and try to get like a pack, it's just nuts. It's nuts what you're seeing on there. Moments going for $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. $15,000 for a moment. It's crazy.
For a moment.
Yeah, that's
wild. And that's only in beta. It's only in beta. The rest of the world can't even access it yet.
That's right. All the way up.
Look. Let's keep it though all the way 100 like we do here in the Black Bitcoin Billionaire though. Here's my question. Do you think some of these prices, because we understand how prices are as far as marketing, like prices bring people to the honeypot, so to speak. Do you think that some of this stuff, and it's been speculated to be, is wash trading, where they're like basically manipulating the price so that we can sit here and talk about the prices? Like, what do you guys think about that?
Oh, absolutely. It's working. We're talking about it.
Definitely. Yeah, I think because you're creating a fake scarce asset in the sense like NBA Top Shots. If every single basketball game you have somebody who scores 30 points, they may have like 20 moments a game for 82 games a year for 20 seasons or whatnot. Like LeBron probably has millions of moments. Therefore, right now they may release 2 or 3 of LeBron's moments at a time. So it seems like the price is going up, but eventually they're going to become so saturated because all these moments will be NFTs. It's a supply and demand type of ordeal. It's a fake scarce asset because they're releasing it slowly. Kind of like with the Nike release shoes. If you can buy as many of them as you kind of can control the price. I think they're doing that same type of thing with NFTs.
Yeah, I could see them forcing the supply and demand issue, CJ. So I totally agree.
Here's something different. NFTs? Yeah, they hit on that.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say I've had discussions with NBA legend, everybody knows, where he's trying to sell physical NFTs, his championship rings and jerseys and shoes and stuff. And I've always thought to myself, if people think digital art isn't worth it, would the same auction process for physical NFTs be a little bit better? Because I think that's probably the next wave, is people having physical things that they auction, and that is actual real scarcity, so to say. But yeah, I'm interested to see how people think about that. Because again, like I said, this is an NBA legend everybody knows. I've spoken to a few, and they have a lot of things that they can auction off in this space. I think that might improve the the spaces.
Yeah, that's what I was about to hit on, right? That tokenization of real assets and things like that that actually have legitimate scarcity to them. That's, to me, the next evolution within this space. And I also throw this out here too. I also think, as we've seen with USDC and some other stablecoins and things of that nature, that they will eventually migrate off of the Ethereum network, off of E, to some other coins and tokens, right? Ecosystems that have better scaling, lower fees, and things of that nature. We'll see.
Can I pose a question?
Right.
So let me ask you this: what with NFTs? What is the difference with having? And if you don't really know the answer to this question, I understand, but let's not put it out there like you do. What's the difference between having like a virtual reality platform and you have this art up there, and when you start talking about stable coins and whatnot, I'm not sure if anybody here is familiar with liquid Bitcoin, but what would be the difference in like a virtual reality platform with the same type of art, but using liquid Bitcoin for your payments and transactions?
And some other stable coins and things of that nature.
No, only liquid Bitcoin, not no other stable coin.
But here's the thing, right? Like even before that, Justin, my issue is this: like when Ryan was just talking about physical things, that it's increasingly difficult to do that. Like it's difficult to take something in the physical world and put it in something in the digital world and be able to do that trustlessly, because that's the big issue, right? Because now you have to trust who put the information into the blockchain that is immutable. The only things I think in the physical world that'll work really easily, are really good, are things that are immutable, like land in the physical world, right? Land, you're not going to be picking up GPS locations and moving them somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like where it is where it is. And so you see what I'm saying? It makes it a little bit easier, but anything else is going to be very hard to authenticate and get that certificate of authentication to actually be the right input to go into the blockchain, because at that point you still have to trust the issuer. You get what I'm saying? And
so that would be clogging up the blockchain, right?
Yeah, it definitely. But it ain't even about the clogging so much as it is how do you trust that type of information, right? On a wild
trustless
scale.
NFTs. Yeah, trustless NFTs is the big question. Because again, like you said, Lamar, whoever's issuing that private key or that QR code, you have to trust them. And that sort of defeats the purpose. But I think as a platform, being able to auction off something for crypto,
right?
If they want to call it NFTs, you know what I mean? Like they could just say NFT. To me, that's more of a buzzword than anything.
Right.
But yeah, I still think all roads lead to Bitcoin. If that's how people get into it, you're right on that end. It's not trustless, but then they discover what trustless really means, and then there we go.
Right.
And Lamar, that's what I'm trying to ask Lamar. Like, if it's digital, and I think you hit on the question, because I wasn't even trying to speak towards the physical part, but you kind of hit on it when I said that, like, you know, if y'all gonna leave it as a virtual platform, then how would it be different from virtual reality? You building up a space, but you accepting something like liquid or doing some type of like transaction that doesn't have to settle on the blockchain of Bitcoin. Because like Zay said, if all roads lead to Bitcoin and you don't want to use the regular Bitcoin, then we're going to have to use something that's more scalable, I guess, or that can handle more transactions.
Yeah,
like
so
that.
you talk, but here's the thing: like Liquid and Lightning Network are still Bitcoin. They just at a secondary layer. You get what I'm saying? So what you're saying is still is right, because and I think that's what Zay's saying too. It's like he's talking about it from the standpoint of using auctioning systems that are built onto blockchain so that you can do the trades for it, and then those people who are auctioning it off don't have to go to like a Sotheby's or a Christie's. That's what you're talking about, right, Zay? Where they don't have to go to these.
That's what I said.
They can do it themselves.
Exactly. It's more decentralized than it was, but it's not completely decentralized. That's basically what I'm saying. Like it's better than that system, but it still has a ways to go. That's why I think SNL, it may have signaled a short-term top, but I think long-term we got a long way to go to figure this stuff out. Because you got to remember, Crypto Kitties was around 4 years ago, and we were way past that. So 4 years from now, who knows?
Exactly.
NFT market where we'll go.
Right.
And I think that what the SNL spot represents is planting the seeds of curiosity for people, right? There's a huge level of excitement around Bitcoin and NFTs right now because the price is high, and that's going to push people to ask questions, to learn more, and hopefully join our club and start investing. And that is a great thing.
I think the other thing too with that is eventually, if not Ethereum, I don't think it'll be Ethereum first, but one of these other platforms is going to lower the barrier of entry into making NFTs. And so then that's when we'll kind of see the scale up on a higher level, and then also start approaching that bubble where things start to, kind of go bad. But I think we got a ways to go for that.
I mean, to me, the bubble would begin once you have all of these major record labels trying to use it, and then still figure out a way how they can take ownership of, individuals' art, right? Because it would do the reverse of what NFTs are about, right? Which is the decentralization aspect of it potentially, right? And you being able to take ownership and create these unique pieces to some degree, right? And then you dictate if this piece is then sold again, that you can get, X percentage from it or residuals, and then keep that moving versus having to list through a Spotify or Apple Music or whatever the case may be, or even go through these major, auction houses to list your art. So I think we'll see who and how they start to use it. And if the big dogs start to step in, then that's when I see like a top starting to approach, and then people trying to figure out a way to navigate the scene again.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to ask, and this is probably good for CJ, the tax implications of using Ethereum to pay for goods, because crypto transactions are taxed. So I want to know if somebody comes out and says, hey, everybody who bought NFTs, you have to pay taxes on that because it's Ethereum. Would that shift people to using a stable coin instead? You know what I mean? Like that to me is what will shift.
And that got. I want to follow. I want to follow up with a question. Go ahead, CJ.
Yeah. So if you are buying something with Ethereum, then that is a taxable event. I think some people are using, Nifty Gateway. I haven't used it myself, but some of my clients have. They say that the onboard and offboard is with US dollars. So if you're buying it with US dollars and behind the scenes, it's done with Ethereum and things of that nature. But if all your personal onboarding and offboarding is with USD, then your taxes would be based off the USD. However, some of them, if you buy it with Ethereum, when you buy it, that's a taxable event. And right now, NFTs are treated like property. But if you are rich or wealthy, like you're in the top tax bracket, it's treated as a collectible. And collectibles are at a 28% tax bracket versus a 20% for capital gains. So as of right now, that's how it's done. If you're buying it with Ethereum, using with Ethereum, you're taxed in the crypto space. If your onboard and offboard is in USD, then it's in US dollars.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask too, like, do you think the tax code will have to be rewritten for something like this? Because, for example, I'm gonna teach a summer camp this summer, and they're gonna make NFTs.
So if you're buying it with US dollars and behind the
road has to pay taxes on the NFTs. Like, I mean, I just think the current tax code is so outdated because it relies on certain infrastructures in place. For example, age. They just automatically assume only people over 18 have the money to do this stuff. But now that's changing. You think it might be a change in tax code, CJ? And would you help change it? Because I think that would be dope if you were one of the people to help change the tax code based on this stuff.
I love how you just presented that, because I didn't even think of that. But it definitely needs to be changed. I mean, the Internal Revenue Code, I forget how many pages it is, but it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's like over 10,000 pages long.
Yeah, like 10,000.
Too many.
Yeah. And I believe there's some pages that are missing. Which is even more funny to me. But nobody could read the entire tax code. Therefore, nobody really understands the whole thing. It needs to be rewritten. It needs to be simplified, and it needs to be weighted to where the incentives are to fit, the world's, well-being, in the sense where the tax code, the way it's built right now, is built for consumerism. It encourages consumerism. And it encourages capitalism to inhumane ways, if that makes sense. I think it completely needs to be rewritten so that instead of us becoming consumers, we become producers, we become more positive to the environment and things of that nature.
Hey, I got a question for Lamar and Zay. So, because people throw around the word and it's so funny. Can we truly say from the knowledge that we have, can we truly call Ethereum a decentralized platform? Yes or no?
I would say no, and they moving further to a centralized platform with that EIP they got coming.
So let's go ahead and say this. Can we start defining what decentralized platforms are? Because we throw this word around for platforms that we know are nowhere near decentralized, and people run with this and then run into problems like Isaiah and CJ just mentioned about everything being on that platform being a taxable event. So, I mean, yeah, they're cryptos, but they're not decentralized platform that people can just like Bitcoin. You know what I mean? So that's one question I wanted to put out there.
But Justin, I
want
to pose this question.
That is partially separate though from the taxation piece, because going from, there's no 1031 exchange within crypto. So, you go from a stable coin to Bitcoin or Bitcoin and you do something else, right? Or any coin, right? Decentralized or not, that can constitute as a taxable event. So I think that those two things are separate. But I mean, to your point,
not all of them. We ain't gonna go that deep. Never mind. I ain't gonna touch on that. But keep going, brother.
I mean, what you mean not all? Like in terms of taxation? Because I mean, anytime you go from one crypto to another crypto is a taxable event. It's no 1031 exchange.
I think going from cash to Bitcoin, but again, that's a whole.
Yeah. I mean, that's different, right? But even going from cash to any other coin, that's not a taxable thing within itself. But I think, going to your point though, because your point is more so about decentralization, is a huge gradient. Right? And I don't think that we will necessarily right now have that full answer. But there are definitely some coins that are more decentralized than others, and then there are some that are more so completely centralized to some degree. But I'll pass it. I'll pass it back just so we can start naming it, because I mean, again, it's a huge gradient about what classifies as decentralized versus centralized.
I truthfully don't believe
centralized. Then you have the measure of what decentralization is. You already have it. You don't have to continuously do all this digging for what it means. We already have one.
No, but Justin, here's the whole thing though, right? And this is what we realizing from all of this situation is that the average everyday user or person cares less about decentralization. Like, we understand the power of it, and that's why we have to educate more and more people. But the people that are getting into the NFT space, because that flow chain that all of those, what do you call them, NBA Top Shots,
that garbage chain.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That flow chain is literally the definition of centralized, and nobody cares. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing we have to understand. Like, everybody doesn't value decentralization in the way that we do because they don't understand the power of decentralization and how it empowers the people that are actually participating in the network of a decentralized system, right? They don't get that. So the average everyday person, all they're going to look at is, I bought a pack of cards for $10 and one of them is now worth $130,000. You get what I'm saying? It's like a scratch off card at that point, which is really what's going on a lot of times with these packs. Like, it really is.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah.
You ain't lying, man. You're not lying. And I've tried to get some of those packs. Boy, them things are hard to come by.
And the more hard they are to come by, the more people want them, right? And so they have increased the scarcity of those, which then, of course, pushes up the price of them because now, as more people want them, they keep creating this demand. It's no different than people making people stand outside the club so you see a long line. By the time you get in line and get up to the front door, the cover charge went up to $55 when it was $5 if you was at the front of the line. You get what I'm saying? So right now, we just have to understand there's a big shakeout going on, and a lot of stuff is very cool, and a lot of stuff is just very interesting to people, and people don't really care about the rules that we care about. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing, and I truthfully believe those types of rules, those types of foundational basis for what we're doing, the foundation of what we're doing is what's going to last longer, because right now Bitcoin is the tortoise and all of these other things are the hare, and they getting out there fast, they doing backflips, they sitting by the tree, they chilling, and at one point they're going to go to sleep and Bitcoin's going to walk right past them and win the game. And that's really
so Lamar, do you
exactly? Hey,
Lamar,
that's
real quick though. Do you think this NFT space is at the top? Because you didn't answer it.
Oh yeah, I didn't answer it. I think the NFT space is definitely not at the top. I don't believe that SNL signaled the top, because the truth is a lot of artists and a lot of big names. Like, man, they had my home state guy on there, Jack Harlow, right? It's like, I don't even think he's launched the NFT. Now imagine that. The dude who's on SNL talking about NFTs hasn't launched his own yet. That just means that it ain't at the top. You see what I'm saying?
But you know it's coming. Yeah, he's probably working on it right now.
Oh,
as the next step.
Hey, shout out to Harlow. Shout out to the couch surfers. Y'all know what time it is. All right, but but real talk, man. It's like that to me was a big signal, because it's like, if he's not doing it, then think about all the other artists that are up and coming, the young guys that are looking at him like, oh, he's talking about him. It's gonna be just like what's going on SoundCloud and all of these other platforms, DistroKid, where everybody has an opportunity to put their stuff out. I think we have not seen the top, and I think what's gonna happen is the cream is gonna rise to the top, and it's not gonna change anything by that much, right? Like, we might get to discover a few people, but those that wind up selling their NFTs for millions of dollars will be people who everyone already knows anyway. You get what I'm saying?
So that solidifies a little bit what I said earlier between what you and Jakuni said. He can't even find a way to get an NFT, and that the folks who early on in gonna be able to sell all of theirs later on. So it could possibly still signal a top if you cannot get any of it, right?
No, that's the difference, right? That's the opposite. Because if you can't get any of it and the demand for it is continuously going up, what happens to the price of all of that stuff?
But who's gonna buy it?
It's gonna go. It's gonna go up.
Hey, it's
up,
always gonna be somebody to buy it, boy.
And that's the that's the thing.
There's nowhere near a top right now.
Yeah,
and I think we need to think about it in two different lights, right? So, because we have two different brains in here. We got to think about it in an artist light, and then we have to think about it in an investor light. So, and I like, when I start to talk about NFTs, I always like to talk about it in the aspect, in the mind frame of the artist, because that's my interest right there. Is the artists are going to be able to do whatever they want, whether it's digital art or music or whatever, so they can do and package this thing however they want. So I don't see it being a top for the artists being able to create and being able to put out whatever they want to be able to put out. Now, when it comes to the artist, that's, for the investor, that's something different. That's something totally different. So if you try to left and right brain this a little bit, you understand that there's no limit to what you can put out there as an NFT as an artist.
Right, and as an artist, it just basically is providing you with a new avenue. Like, that's the real greatest part about all of this, is that it's providing some of these artists with a new avenue. If they're some of the first ones to hop on, it's no different than what the Apple App Store did for developers, right? Those people who got into the Apple App Store really early on and made games and all of that, they made millions of dollars because they were the only people adopting that platform. These artists that are out here, if they can quickly get out into the forefront and start being some of the early people to adopt the platform, kind of like what happened with CryptoPunks or Cypherpunks or whatever, CryptoPunks, then they can actually benefit from being first movers in a brand new space. But what winds up happening is you start getting a lot of dilution, because now you get a lot of people jumping in, and it's going to be just like what happened with the music industry, where you got all of these people coming out with their own thing,
Yeah, and I also had a question for Zay, because he had mentioned some of the tax code changes. Outside of paying taxes, period, I guess my question would be, what are some of the biggest pain points that you would have from an NFT, from a crypto, from a transaction, from a trading perspective? Because if I can relate that back to the U.S. dollar with an inflation system, maybe we could figure out the best system, deflation system, which is the Bitcoin world, so that it's easier. Because at the end of the day, we do need a military, we do need certain roads, we do need some type of infrastructure for taxes. However, the internal revenue code is completely outdated in the U.S. world, in the U.S. dollar world, but now in the crypto world, it's ancient. So, what are some of those biggest pain points that you would have?
Well, I would say crypto to crypto transactions being taxed is ridiculous. That shouldn't even be a thing. I think a regulatory sandbox is a good step, but I think for the most part, the tax code was written for the U.S. dollar controlled by the government. That's where it should stay. Everything else, just kind of leave it alone, in my opinion. But I think
agree.
The biggest pain points, honestly, is regulation. Like all this innovation that happens in the space, I do the news every day. We got some new stuff like every week. The problem is you got to stop for a second, wait for the regulators to catch up, and then try to make up something. Because I mean, that's really the biggest pain point. That's it. And in countries or even in states like Wyoming, where there's a regulatory sandbox where you let crypto companies flourish, you're starting to see that be a better option. So I would say, yeah, the biggest pain points is the regulation itself. Hands-off approach would probably work better.
Hey,
okay, so hold on. So say if they take their hands completely off of crypto, and now instead of people using U.S. dollars, everybody starts using crypto, then the government at that point, they have less money. So what would you suggest some of the things that might
I was about to say, hey, that's what's about to happen.
They don't need any more money.
They could just print it. Right? They're printing it already.
Print some more. That's right.
Let them print their money. Let them
fix the budget so it doesn't go all to the military. Like
exactly.
Like even military people have told me they don't need some of the stuff they're giving them. Like they're like, bro, we got enough money. So I would say, yeah, the tax amount of money going to the government will go down, but that's the goal, right?
Yeah. So I say that because when I used to work for the railroad, what we would have to do is we'd have to have these budgets. So say if you buy an additional subsidiary, which is like another company to help you out with something, every purchase is going to have some type of effect. So you would say, okay, well, this is going to lower the expenses for this, is going to lower these expenses, is going to raise this. And so if I were to come up with some type of a budget for a change in the tax code, those are the types of things where I would start with. I would say, okay, well, then we could bring down the military. We could bring down, the actual printing of paper, the ink, maybe, keeping that safe, destroying paper money. So we'd have to think about all the individual changes in their current budget to figure out, well, how can we take that away and then replace it with something like this? So those are the types of things that I think we should begin to think about.
Yeah, I think that would be a dope project. Like by the end of this year, before next tax season, if we had some way to do that list that out, CJ, that would be dope.
Bet, I'm on it.
Oh man, this morning has been amazing. It's really good conversation here, man, around these NFTs and everything like that, man. I appreciate it. So I guess my next thing is what do you all think about, like, let's go into what Zay and them did for the second story, which was actually the first story he talked about, which was Visa. Like, what do you all think about Visa and Ethereum, like those two getting together? Because, I mean,
I don't grasp that, Lamar. I don't grasp that at all.
Hold on. I think everybody wants to end on this. Hold on. I think Zay said it right. He was like, if Ethereum is Ethereum going to figure out a way to get over $90 gas fees, right? So I guess what do you guys think about that? Like, is it just futile? Like, what's the point?
I don't know if Visa is all the way hip to Ethereum's flaws right now, man, and how unresolved they are. Like Zay pointed out with the fees and everything like that. Yeah, that's kind of scary, man. For them to be the first intro to crypto, because I could definitely see that going bad with the transaction fees and whatnot.
I see it failing.
What kills me is, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Justin.
No, go ahead, Gabe. I'll be talking too much anyway.
What I was going to say is, what kills me is everybody's trying to go for like the number 2 biggest, coin/token on the market, because I don't know what their beef is against Bitcoin, But yeah, so you have Visa that could do a gazillion transactions a second or whatever it is. Now they're going to get hit with gas fees. So are those gas fees then going to be charged into your finance charge when you start using your Visa? Are they going to like now go from 17.99 to like 30 so they can recoup these fees? Are they going to be watching the market to see when gas drops? I mean, to me, it is literally like the most stupidest thing ever. And I have to say it just point blank, and I'm sorry. It's the stupidest thing ever that when people compare transaction speeds and everybody wants a coin to be just like as fast as Visa and all this other stuff, that Visa just took like 10 steps backwards. They're rolling on 20s that are made of concrete. They're not even on real tires now. I just don't get it.
I want to say this.
It's the most stupidest.
There's a difference between like, and I think I was talking to Lamar, or I was talking to somebody else. Like everybody's looking at transactions, but I remember like in 2016, I don't know, you can come off the mic if you remember. Who in here remembers the Shift card that Coinbase issued way back in 2016? All right.
Oh yeah.
That was Visa, and I was tearing their ass up early on with that. Then that program stopped. Now, I don't really know all the reasons why that program stopped, but that program stopped with Bitcoin. Now, when folks start talking about transactions, they only try to think about transactions in the form of, what Visa can process a transaction, right? All right, cool. Right. But what Bitcoin does, it doesn't just process transactions, it has a whole settlement. So that settlement, I believe, is what made Visa. I really don't know why Visa stepped away from the Shift card. I know they picked up another model, but I don't like Zay said, like Gabriel said, in my opinion, I think it'll just be a quick failure. Like, oh, we tried it didn't work. And, that everybody wants to speculate, but I really don't see that one. I don't really don't see that one going too deep because, again, Ethereum doesn't consider itself even to be a money. They only consider itself to be a storage of value. So what will they be selling? I mean, eventually I think it'll come out as Ethereum looking like a security, but I just digress.
See, I can understand. Go ahead, Isaiah.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, I think Visa, the only reason they may have done it is they may know something we don't as far as scaling, but, they may fix the scaling issues, so they're getting it out ahead of it. But like I said, I still don't see the purpose. This is not money.
Well, I think Go ahead, Gabriel.
No, go ahead, Charlene. Go ahead.
I just think this is a play for Visa to remain innovative, right? Every financial services organization is trying to figure out where they fit in the cryptocurrency space. As you can say, if you look at the press release, Visa said they're piloting it. It might not work, but at least, they can say they were the first, right? They're out in the market. They're trying to make it work for their business, and they get credit at being a first mover, and that's an incredible PR opportunity when everybody's talking about cryptocurrency.
Well, I agree with that. The innovative portion, that's great. But wouldn't you want to get out in front of something and do it right? So I'm trying to think of the guy that briefed all the financial dudes up there at Visa that says, we should get on Ethereum and all this other stuff. And then later on say, oh, well, that didn't work because we got snuffed with 1,000 fees. They had a better choice of going to Bitcoin and just doing Bitcoin. Hell, they could do Tron. They could do another blockchain and be more successful.
But to Isaiah's point, maybe they know something we don't know, right?
That's what I was saying.
Well, the sharding 2.0, I mean, possibly with the 2.0 for Ethereum. But then again, that's then proof of stake. And so does that mean, are they going to stake some of their money? Like be the first innovator to be on Visa, I'm staking $1 gazillion in the Ethereum 2.0. Now I'm at first at the game. I mean, that could be.
Well, what I do know, they partner with Anchorage Bank. They're the first federally chartered digital asset bank, right? So they're the exclusive settlement partner. So they're connecting with folks that have been in the space for a long time. So I'd argue that they have some, there's a brain trust there that are making some decisions. So I think it's going to be a wait and see approach.
I don't know. I just think they're running around in circles trying to be the first one on the chopping blocks. They want to be number one. They want to be innovative, and I don't think they're doing their due diligence. They're not listening to the black Bitcoin billionaires with some common sense, and they're not looking to see what's really good for the ecosystem and what really benefits them. Why would you be a finance institution and not use a finance-based coin/token?
I think we're thinking about this the wrong way, and just understand what Visa is, right? They're trying to keep you on the hook with credit.
That's right.
So
trying to keep you in the network.
I mean, why are they? They're not really trying to do this to reduce fees. They want those fees. They want all that money that's coming in. So if you,
that's a good point.
You're thinking about this the wrong way. They don't care about that. If the gas fees are high, that means that, and it's hooked into your Visa. Guess who's getting it?
They can surcharge it.
So so if y'all think about this the other way, and not think about as the consumer saying, hey, this should be a lot easier for us. That's not why Visa is getting into it. They're getting into it so they can rape y'all with these fees like they've been doing. So just understand that part, and then it actually makes more sense.
And Fred, that's a great point. And that's one of the things, right? Like getting out ahead of this and then trying to continue to lock people into your ecosystem as the buzz for crypto continues to grow and everybody's looking for yields. They're looking for to be able to spend their crypto and put it on the card, right? Like this isn't their first venture. I think about like Swipe, XXP, and some other things, MasterCard. Like all of people are trying to get into this. Interest, right? I mean, that's it. How many people don't pay their credit card bills or every month and are still paying interest there? And then by the time you tie in all the things that are coming in the system, whether the blockchain, I mean, we see it, right? You even see it in these centralized platforms like Nexo or Celsius.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's brilliant. Who doesn't have a Visa card in their wallet right now? Right? So
that's good.
Once they figure it all out, then you'll be able to, you start there, and then they can allow you to spend all kinds of cryptocurrency, and they don't have to build any new infrastructure.
Now, should we worry about it when American Express and Discover go that way?
Yeah, here's the issue though, right? So when everybody like PayPal, they're talking about you'll be able to use crypto to pay for your goods and services. What's going to happen is it's going to be a database transaction, because I'm telling you right now, these companies are not signing up to pay more fees. So they're going to let you hold Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin or whatever in your own wallet in their own custody. And then they're going to do all of the transactions through their own database in the back and then settle if you try to take it out, if they let you take it out, right? Because that's what we see with PayPal. There's no way for you to remove any of the Bitcoin or Litecoin or whatever you're buying on there out to another wallet. So all of these companies that are getting in, they understand one very simple thing is that we can make it seem like they're paying with Bitcoin, and we can charge them the fees, but all we're doing is updating the database. And they'll think that they have to pay these transaction fees, but all of those fees will go directly to us. Like we are getting hoodwinked. Yeah, we getting hoodwinked and bamboozled out here with this custody stuff. And then you can pay for it with your Bitcoin. Yeah, you can pay with it with your Bitcoin inside of PayPal, which is really their Bitcoin. And I'm gonna just break it down real quick. Can I break it down real quick for you?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is what happened with the gold, right? When gold was backing dollars, they got to the point where they started saying, you know what, the central bank needs to have all the gold. So when the central bank has all the gold and they're giving you dollars on the front side of it, that means they have the ability to then rob you, because all they have to do is give you more dollars than they have backing with the gold. The same thing can happen with your Bitcoin. So they got your Bitcoin out there and they basically are letting you borrow it. They're letting you borrow your own Bitcoin from them at basically fractionally reserving your currency. So now you're moving around stuff that you don't have, but they're charging you fees on something that you don't have. Imagine that. So now you paying, it's the same thing the banks do, right? It's like that now you're paying fees on something they don't even have to back up, but they're making you pay them. So now they're getting fees on nothingness. And we're literally moving back into the same systems as long as we keep allowing all of these companies to custody what it is that we have. Like, that's the part that we have to watch out for. And the more people that get onboarded through these custody systems, that's when we running into issues. So if we want to keep our freedom, we gotta be the ones that control our keys. And as my good friend Bitcoin Zay says, no keys, no cheese.
Hey Lamar.
Lamar. Go ahead, Justin.
Go ahead, bro.
No, I was just gonna change gears just a little bit, only because I saw this story that came out from NASDAQ, and they say like a combination of supply and demand dynamics and actions of legacy financial systems will push Bitcoin to over 200,000 in 2021. What do y'all have to say about that?
Hey,
hold on. More power.
Hold on. Jakumi just took over my show, didn't he? We were talking about something else. Jakumi literally took a headline and said, "This is what I want to talk about." Nah, we good though, Jakumi. It's all our show. It's all our show, man. Go ahead.
Let me say this. I'm gonna say, Jakumi, if you don't mind, real quick, and I promise I ain't going. I'll answer it myself, right? And people can just Google this for themselves because Fred brought up a great point with Lamar around this visa thing. So during the pandemic last year, and the people who got the Google fingers can Google, Business Insider dropped a report that the Fed was probing MasterCard and Visa for increasing the fees to use the debit cards. I don't know who they passed the fees on to, whether it was the business or the customer. However, when Fred had brought that fact up, that reminded me of that article, the fact that it was during the pandemic and that people were spending, people were trying to spend less money. So they increased the transaction fees to use the debit or credit cards for people during that time. And I don't know how that story ended up turning out, but I do remember them being investigated by the Fed around that particular subject. So Fred, that was a great point to bring up.
Okay, so thank you, Justin, for sticking with the topic. But back to Jakumi's sidebar. He done brought up a side chick topic. Back over to that. What do y'all think about what Jakumi's talking about with this price, man?
200K is too conservative. I think about 300,000, but hey, I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, before Jakumi even bust this topic out, the sidebar thing, all these other analysts and all these other, OG people in Bitcoin were saying Bitcoin's supposed to reach about 110K July, August, their thoughts, their analysis. So, I mean, having the NASDAQ, preach something like that or let that come out, I mean, it's a possibility. I personally don't see it reaching over 200, but I do see it having some type of influence.
Hey, if you look at the tweet I just tweeted out, it's basically a chart that shows what happens after the halving, and it shows you over the last 10 years what's been going on as far as the price target. And you said you personally don't see it reaching over what, Gabriel?
To me, I think it's going to be around like 150, 160, but I'm always on the more conservative side. But honestly, if I really say, maybe 200 max by the end of the year.
Yeah, by the end of the year. But in the future, we're going to see well above that. And by the year 2024.
I want to hear what CJ has to say.
Go ahead.
Well, we're talking about the price by the end of the year. That I got it at 650 by the end of the year with a 3-year pullback down to 125, meaning the people who have been in are going to be good, but then the people who start buying at 500,000, they're going to be hurting just like they were in 2017 when they were buying it at 18,000 and it got the pullback. That's just based off of charts, but it's also based off of how these corporations act. Because if you look at Tesla and how they've made more from Bitcoin than they have selling cars, I think their competitors are going to start doing it. And once those quarterly meetings start popping up, you're going to see a whole bunch of them buying it. But then once it goes up, you're going to see a whole bunch of people dropping it. So I do think we have some more huge swings coming into play. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I don't know if that's not fact or nothing like that. It's not financial advice for sure.
I think we're gonna see a big swing coming into this weekend, coming into April. As we always usually see a pullback during the week, but it's the opposite this week because we're closing on the next month, which this year the trends have been an all-time high coming into each month. So I think we're gonna do the same thing coming into April because we're only like $3,000 or $4,000 away from another all-time high right now, which is not that's just that's peon to Bitcoin.
Because Quavo, you do have a theory, right? That we're gonna hit a new all-time high every month this year.
Well, yeah, a theory. We could definitely call it a theory, and I say that because there's so many, just like CJ just said, there's so many institutions coming in, and they're seeing the big dogs, quote unquote, Tesla, make more money. The last year with Bitcoin, so there's a lot of companies that just have millions of dollars just sitting in their treasury, losing buying power. So it only makes sense to put a percentage of that into Bitcoin, and that's what you're going to see this year. And we're going to see a lot of that over the summer. So I can't wait, And my theory is going into April, which is the end of this weekend, another month, we're going to see another all-time high. I hope I'm wrong, but we'll see.
Yeah,
you trying to get some more, huh, Quavo?
Oh yeah.
I agree with CJ and Crypto Quavo because if you think about it, it probably takes 2 to 4 months for a corporation to get their paperwork together to buy Bitcoin, right? So if all this activity started in January and they had to go to their board and they had to kind of get their board up to speed on Bitcoin and do all of that, that's about, 2 to 4 month lag to actually go public with it. So I think we're going to start to see these huge swings of these corporations finally being able to publicize the fact that they've moved more of their corporate treasuries in Bitcoin. So that is going to happen in April and May. And that is
yes, ma'am.
Make the price skyrocket. We're not even going to know what has hit us.
But here's what's so crazy. I think one thing that we really not thinking about is I heard there's another stimulus coming.
What?
I heard that.
Rumor has it.
Another $4 trillion.
Yeah.
Lamar, so you telling me that the government is going to print off an additional $4 trillion?
Man, that's what I heard. But I heard it's
grab the torch and pitchfork.
Hey, you know what? You know what else I currently seen in the news on the memes and stuff? I seen that I think we're at a $1.3 trillion market cap, and Apple is a $2.6 trillion market cap. So we're actually halfway as far as one of the wealthiest assets and companies on the planet. And Apple is at 2.6 trillion, and Bitcoin is half of that right now. So if we continue to climb up towards 100,000, we might become the number one asset to ever hit Earth outside of gold.
We've already beat that. If that's all it is, it's already beat, brother.
I know. It's just a matter of time.
If gold is only $9 trillion away, that's already beat too.
Yeah.
If we talking about $1 million prices of Bitcoin, man, we just need the conversation should be strictly around what is the world going to look like when Bitcoin is the only asset? The folks in front of it is just like Usain Bolt in the Olympics. Y'all already know y'all gonna get caught. So the topic of discussion is gonna be what's Bitcoin gonna look like when it's the number one asset, when it passes conversations we can't even think about right now. You know what I'm saying? That we should probably be politicking going because all those other people are gone. They already lost, man. They already know it's a hell for them.
Oh yeah.
I was going to agree with you, Crypto, about that because I tweeted this morning. I was like, let's pump 65K by the end of the week, which would pretty much be the turn into the end of the month. And that's based on my mind hearing the news about all these companies and institutions getting in. But are they systematically coming in every month or every other 2 months? Because what would happen if all the companies went in at the same time and everybody said day after day they're coming into this Bitcoin realm? Well, then people get scared because the value of Bitcoin will go from 65 to 100, and then people will freak out and start pulling because they're afraid it's going to drop again. So maybe that's why these businesses are doing it systematically, so they can help the gains they get through the systematic increase of the value of the coin.
Well, I think that the Michael Saylor effect, we haven't even seen it yet. because all these companies have the prep to make that type of investment
Exactly.
on their balance sheets and everything like that. So this next quarter is where we're going to start seeing the Michael Saylor effect.
Exactly.
So then it's finna get crazy.
In
Yeah, I
April
think they
is
started
the
in
second quarter.
January. Exactly.
Right. And then
Started the
April is
process in
historic.
January.
Yeah, and then April is historically like the best month for Bitcoin, typically. If you look at the charts.
And if you notice, I'm sorry, Lamar.
No. I was just gonna say the 4 trill. I just wanted to say that because I had heard it, but the 4 trill they say is for infrastructure. I thought it was 3 trill for infrastructure and maybe an additional stimmy on top of that. So it's to keep printing money. What they say, money counter goes. So yeah, go ahead, Miss Charlene. I'm sorry about that.
I was just going to say, well, I just noticed a real pattern of Bitcoin naysayers coming out publicly to kind of, cast doubt on Bitcoin. And I really believe it's kind of like the counterforce trying to keep the price low while all these corporations try to get their paperwork together, right? Like you see these, I guess Wall Street so-called titans that have 50 years of experience saying that, hey, they don't understand Bitcoin. They're just casting doubt. I really think it's don't do what I say, do as I do, right? In the background, you have many of these folks just trying to invest, and they know that if they tell the real story, that the price will shoot up. So I think we're going to see a different view on Bitcoin once they are able to get their paperwork together.
I'm just waiting for institutions to buy miners. I'm waiting for institutions to buy miners so they can make their money in Bitcoin that way. Just buy miners, make your Bitcoin, and reduce the fees for transactions for your regular institutions. Offset them by mining Bitcoin.
The problem is that there is a shortage. Like until we get like a serious chip manufacturer that wants to take it on as a business, and as we know, we were talking to one dude who was working with Intel a little while ago, and they realized that them putting out chips for miners was only going to be like a $3 billion at tops business for them, which didn't make sense for them, right? And so they were like, that's not worth it for us to potentially go into mining. And this is from a gentleman who came on stage, so just take the source for what it is, but it makes sense to me because we still haven't seen our large chip manufacturers get into mining. So then now everybody still will be relying upon China, and the supply in China right now is crazy, right? Like nobody can get miners. So
right.
So if the governments, it don't matter how much money the governments have, if they were going to go buy miners, they would be running into the same exact bottleneck as everyone else unless they figure out a way to subsidize the chip mining, and at that point they would have to probably think that mining Bitcoin was a case for national security, seeing as how Iran is already mining Bitcoin. So I mean, for them to move into that space that way, it's a lot harder than them just to go out into the market and actually buy the coins, right? Because they can keep printing. Think about it. The government can continuously keep printing money and keep printing money and keep printing money and buy as many coins as they want to, the same way they print money all the time to go buy weapons for wars. That's the reason why most governments do inflate their currency, because normally it's for them to go out into the marketplace and buy weapons so that they can fight wars. Well, in this environment, maybe the new war is the war over the world's currency, and they might print more money just to go out and buy it. And when you see this infrastructure, that's what this is $3 trillion into infrastructure. Who knows? Maybe somebody is out there like setting it up so they can start buying Bitcoin. I don't know. I'm just saying, but the government, it seems like it would be way easier for them and these institutions to buy the coins instead of going towards the mining space. Oh, is everybody still there? Did it cut off?
Oh no, we're here. We're here. And you know what? I mean, you're right. Then so you print money, which becomes worthless to buy Bitcoin. So it's pretty much like you're almost getting Bitcoin for something. You're using no value to buy something of value. How will that then affect Bitcoin's value? Will someone catch on to that and then all of a sudden say Bitcoin shouldn't be worth that much because the U.S. or other countries are buying it off of air?
It's falsely inflated. I hear what you're saying, but that's what happens, right? Because If it's falsely inflated, that becomes a bubble, and if there's a bubble, there's usually some type of pop or correction. The problem is that we have to think about it from a macro view. If the world starts figuring out that that the United States is starting to buy more of the hardest money that we've known so far, right? It's becoming some of the hardest money we've ever known. If they find that out, what do you think the other countries are going to do? They're going to start printing money. They're going to start printing money and buying Bitcoin. Right. And so now you'll have this crazy situation where if it gets into a war type of situation, look how much money was spent on nuclear war and just during the Cold War and all of this stuff. Right. Think about all the money that has always been spent on trying to be the empirical power in the world. Like when it gets down to the money. And like the same thing that happened with the gold, if everybody in the world starts realizing that this is the hardest money and they realize that some other country is printing money to go buy more and more and buy the most of it that they can off the market, I think you're going to see the world start buying up, like all the different world powers start trying to buy up the Bitcoin. Because otherwise they'll be left behind. I think Iran doing it right now is a huge threat to a lot of these countries, and I think that's why they're going to have to try to figure something out. Because otherwise, you're going to have Iran with the hardest money in the world.
Can't beat them, join them.
And then they're going to turn around and buy Smith and Wesson with Bitcoin.
No, that's real talk though. Like that sounds like a joke, but that's real. Like, you know what I'm saying? They'll go and buy all the weapons with Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin,
that's one of the biggest reasons the government stands against it, because they think it funds terrorism, right?
Right,
but you can fund terrorism with anything, though. I mean,
exactly.
If you're going to do something illegal, you will find an illegal way to do it.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's their stance, though. We can't. We got to put all these regulations and this and that on it because it's a tool that funds terrorism, which I don't agree with, but that's their excuse.
Yeah, they'll turn around and then go to Ether, or they'll turn around and launder money or something like that. I mean, when you have anything dealing with like a financial instrument, you will always find a way to do something illegal, whether it's greed or whether it's, covering your ass or whatever. And you're absolutely right. And they're just going to be blaming it on Bitcoin. But if you took Bitcoin out of the equation, it would have happened with something else anyway.
And I just wanted to bring up this quick fact. So earlier, Zayad mentioned the Internal Revenue Code. I did some research. The very first income tax that was created was in 1861, and it was to fund the Union Army during the Civil War. Yep. The maximum income tax rate was 7%, which is pretty much the minimum now, for the most part, unless you pay zero. And so when you look at the increase in war and funding for the military, pretty much it seems as though almost all of the taxes that they receive, it started off with war and it's still going towards war in the military. So I do think that if we divert some from the military, that could lower the tax rate. Maybe we can use this digital currency system for more of a peaceful environment, since we can all destroy the world anyway with nuclear bombs. Let's just be peaceful. But just wanted to bring that fact up so that that rings.
That's a good fact.
But that's real, because the issue is this, man. The biggest problem is this. Like you said, they funded they funded the war with the taxes. The problem is that if you have a money that is backed by something and you don't have all of that something, then it makes it extremely difficult for you to print more money, because it has to be backed by something. It makes it difficult for you to do that, to buy more stuff so that you can win the war. So that's what happened, right? In 1933, they started getting off the gold standard. And then 1971, during the middle of us being in the Vietnam War, they was like, man, we need more money than what we got based on this gold. So guess what? We all the way off of it, and we just going to go and print money so we can win, right? And so think about it. If the world starts going back towards a standard, like a Bitcoin standard, then who's going to be the one with all the money to win wars? Whoever has the Bitcoin, right? So that to me is what could possibly push us into hyper Bitcoinization, like where everything is bought with Bitcoin.
That's going to be the new headline in 10 years. Something's going to happen, just like a recession or something. We're going to have a war, because the best way to get out of like depression or recession is have a war. And that's going to be it. The war of Bitcoin.
That's what's happening now. It's called coronavirus.
Damn.
Man.
Oof.
Okay, what's going on, Sinclair? I see my man Sinclair got up. Matter of fact, everybody mods, please start welcoming up. You know, this second hour is for the people, so the people can come on stage and ask their questions. Miss Naja, are you here, sister?
Yes, sir.
And then Mr. Sinclair, what you doing? Doc, how you been, sir? Is he here? I see him hopped on stage. Your mic might not be working, Doc. I see you off mute, but it ain't working. So yeah, everybody, please raise your hand on Facebook, YouTube, everywhere that you are watching this. Please add your comments to the comment section, and we will get this thing started.
I think Sinclair is in a bad area. His mic is open, but we can't hear you, Sinclair. So you might be just in a bad area.
So with that said, let's go ahead and let me do a quick little. This is the Black Bitcoin Billionaires Genesis Block.
Hello?
Here he goes. I am your host, Big Mar. We are now in the question answer section of the Genesis Block, led by Miss Naja Roberts, founder and CEO, of the Crypto Blockchain Plug. What's going on, Miss Naja? I got a question on Facebook if you want to send it to me first.
Absolutely. Let's take it to you, and then we'll come back to Sinclair.
All right. On Facebook, it says, and anybody can answer this. It says, India is trying to ban Bitcoin. What countries are next?
Who cares? Nah, I don't know.
It don't matter. It don't matter.
According to Ray Dalio, I think America is next. Ain't that right?
No, it's not the first time India has tried to do it. I think it's going to continue to be, different regulatory regimes, and they call it regulatory arbitrage. So literally, it drives the price and the value of Bitcoin up, and you'll literally see cycles of different types of regulations that try to ban or inhibit the use of Bitcoin. But as we all know, they always fail.
You'll probably hear about China again, come up, them doing stuff with miners. Then who knows after that?
Yeah, thank you. Back to you, Ms. Naja.
Absolutely. Sinclair, earlier you were trying to say something. That you want to go ahead with that thought as well?
No, Sister Naja, I was just, again, thankful for y'all having this. I'm actually in Zimbabwe with our incredible team of hardworking startup technologists. Can y'all say hi to everybody in the Black Billionaires?
Hello.
That's incredible.
Hey, Zimbabwe team.
That is incredible.
That's beautiful. So we
love you, Zimbabwe. We love you.
Hey, they say they love you. We love you too. Yes. So I'm over here just for a little while longer, but definitely appreciating Sister Naja, whatever we can do to help out with any type of tour or anything. We actually did a tour in the U.S. and Zimbabwe to different universities when we first rolled out our remittance product back in 2017. So we definitely would love to do anything to keep spreading the good news and collaborate with everybody, to get the word out, especially to Black folks. So thank you so much for all you do, sister.
Thank you for all you do. I watched that documentary. It was awesome. So definitely, and I thank you for all that you have done in the space, and Lamar as well. We need to give people their roses while they're alive. Lamar is a wealth of information, and we need to, as a group, as we have been, really reaching out, picking his brain, and making sure that we are headed in the right direction. Because this dude, man, is incredible. He knows so much stuff. So, my hat goes off to you for all that you do and all that Lamar does as well. So with that, we have some fabulous people on the stage, and we are going to bring Raven. Raven, welcome to the Black Bitcoin Billionaire. Genesis Block.
Good morning, Ms. Naja, and thank you everybody for being here. I'm grateful to be here. I have a question because we were talking about public companies earlier today, and I'm specifically thinking about something like a Tesla. because when I think about what they do at the core of their business, they do power. You know what I mean? They do solar power and batteries and things like that. So I think they might have kind of an advantage that some other people might not have when it comes to potentially mining. So have you guys considered Tesla entering the mining space? I know the hardware was mentioned earlier as an obstacle, but I mean, Elon is the type of engineer to kind of produce and create his own hardware. So how do you guys feel about something like that potentially happening in the future?
I think from a financial perspective, they could definitely do something like that. They're one of the first ones in the corporate structure to go public with the Bitcoin that they've created. Therefore, from an image perspective, Elon Musk would take that on fully. I'll leave it to Gabriel to talk about the actual mining itself, but I think yes.
I think no. And I think no because just like they've already done, I think they'll just take their cash and go buy some. Because you got to think there's only going to be, if they started mining right now, they only going to have about 3 million Bitcoin left, period. The whole that's all they're going to have is 3 million Bitcoin left to get. And they're definitely not going to get the majority of them. You get what I'm saying? Because that's just how mining works. So if they put it into some type of equation and try to figure out, okay, what is our probability of getting these coins based on the amount of hashing power that we can produce? Not even about the energy, because we know mining is energy arbitrage, but like once they do that probability, they'll probably say, well, it's probably easy for us to just buy it right now before the price gets way too high. So just buy a lot like they did. I think they spent $1.5 billion. Just buy a whole lot of them right now, and there's no reason for them to get into mining because they're going to probably get the same amount of coins that they would mining. You get what I'm saying? So I don't see them doing it. I just don't, because they're not a chip manufacturer. They still have the same issues as everybody else. But yeah, you can go ahead.
And that's a good point. Instead of mining, they could just accept the Bitcoin for Teslas like they're doing and just like
that's what they're doing.
That too. Yep.
Right.
That
exactly. Too. That's cheaper than mining.
All right.
Elon has already said
that. Thank you for that question. We'll move back to Facebook.
Yes, ma'am. I got something for you too. Deshaun Lockhart says, do you think NFTs are the future, and what coins on Coinbase are NFTs to look at? I don't think there are any NFTs on Coinbase, so to speak, right now, because NFTs are normally built on top of platforms like Ethereum, Flow, those kind of things. So I don't think they're, unless you're going to say Ethereum is something to look at. But to be honest, y'all already know my my opinion, and I'm not telling anybody what they should do. But if you are brand new to the space, just do your research and understand Bitcoin. And when you understand Bitcoin, you'll probably wind up buying it.
All right. Anybody else with a take on that? All right, Gabriel, I see that you came off of mute, but we can't hear you. So we'll go ahead and move to Teeth. Welcome to the Black Bitcoin Billionaire.
Thank you. Wealth and power to us all. I mostly just trade Bitcoin, and just listening at your last 20 minutes of this conversation that you all been having, I was wondering, where's a good place? I know you can't give a absolute, but just a suggestion of a platform you can buy and hold it and be able to actually, I guess, own it. Because I heard a gentleman say something along the lines of some companies I know, like through Robinhood, you're not actually owning the coin. You're just they own it, but you're trading it.
So if you wanted to own some Bitcoin, you would still be at the exchange where you're at, where you're keeping it temporarily until you're trading it. So you would just take it and move it from that exchange into your private wallet. So say, for example, you're trading on, I don't know, Coinbase. You can move into a wallet from Coinbase, and that's how you would self-custody. That's how you would self-custody it.
Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome, and thank you for that question. Ryan, did you have something that you wanted to say?
Yeah. I mean, when you say trading it, like, what do you mean trading it?
I would buy fractions of it, and it went down, bought fractions. When it go back up, I would sell.
All right, bad. Okay, all right, no problem. Just be mindful of the tax consequences when you do that, because it may seem like you're definitely profiting in USD, but a lot of that profit can just be ate up in taxes and things like that. So just be mindful. A lot of times it's more profitable for people just to buy and hold and then just dollar cost average your way in. So that's just another mindset to potentially consider.
Thank you.
All right, and Lamar, back to you.
I don't have anything, sister. Somebody made a joke and said, just make an NFT of Bitcoin and sell it on Ethereum.
I mean, rap BTC.
Right, I know. It's just like rap. Exactly. That's what Gabriel responded
Facts,
back.
yeah.
But I think it was just a joke.
All right. Well, thank you for that joke. We're gonna move to Kevin this morning. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, guys. It's always good to see you or hear from you. So it's quite late afternoon here for me in the UK. And I've got to say a big thank you to all of you guys, actually, because you've certainly helped me on my Bitcoin journey and things are going swimmingly at the moment. And I've got to certainly commend Lamar. He hosted a room the other night. I can't remember the name of the room itself, but there was one chap who appeared to be some kind of Bitcoin scammer. And what I liked about that was that Lamar gave him the floor, gave him the opportunity to sort of state his so-called facts. He was challenged, and ultimately he was made to look like a fool. And that's really important to me, because I need to sort of be wary of these sort of individuals and sort of know what to look out for, and I'm certainly be concerned about whether what their true intentions are. So big thanks to Lamar for doing that, because if he just simply kicked him out of the room, then I would have, none of us would have been aware of these type of individuals. So nice one, Lamar, for doing that. I do have a question, which is, if you can improve Bitcoin, what are the failings of Bitcoin can you see at the moment? Does it actually have anything that sort of, does the technology have any sort of flaws that you would actually improve on, that will actually help to improve mass adoption? I think that's the question.
Oh, I'll throw my 2 cents in. If you look at the Bitcoin coding, it tells you when it's going to have, it tells you the amount for each things, and it also tells you transaction times. Now, me personally, I would probably increase the size of the packet an extra megabyte to hold more data to create the block. So more data goes in the block, and that makes transactions faster, because that's where most people have this hang up, is this transaction time. And then I would say I would decrease the ability to find a block from 10 to 7, just small amounts. And I think that would help. It would allow more transactions. It would allow more things to happen, but not to the point where it would break what's already substantial. It's just small little tweaks. That's what I would personally do.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for your input there, Gabriel. That's actually quite useful to know. I've been looking at Cardano. I went to the website fairly recently, and I think the CEO used to be he held up the is it Ethereum, or I can't remember the name of that.
Yeah, he was with Charles.
Is he trying to address these sort of issues, do you think?
I mean, ADA is trying to adjust like the trifecta within crypto, as they call it: interoperability, scalability, and then security. But ADA is still highly centralized, although they less centralized, but it's still centralized. They haven't fully released a full working project yet, but I mean, the anticipation and hype is there. I mean, price has definitely ran. So we'll continue to see. I mean, they may be, depending on the development and stuff like that, if you have a backlog with ETH and a host of issues with rolling out EIP 1559 and 2.0, then ADA is positioned to be able to take just a little bit of their market share. But will it be sustainable? Who knows?
Yeah, thanks for that, Ryan. I think that's all for me for now, guys. So cheers.
Hey, before we move on, I just wanted to say that I tweeted out an article that was in Forbes magazine. The article was basically for you folks that are thinking you're going to be going and trading your crypto in and out. It was about a person that was facing up to $800,000 in taxes. They netted from trading in and out. You lose, you gain. They netted about $45,000 in profit, but because of the tax implications, they're facing $800,000. So if you get a chance, click on my profile and you can see that that tweet that I sent out there.
800, ouch.
Yeah, the tax bracket changed when you make 800,000. That's a whole nother ballgame.
Yes. And thank you, Shalair, for that information. Everybody can check out her profile and catch that tweet so you can get that information. And again, thank you, Kevin, for the question. And Lamar, we're going to go back to you on Facebook.
There's a question from Joel Culver that says, how can we keep our Bitcoin safe from online data hackers?
Any moderator want to go after that?
Sure. One way that you can keep your Bitcoin safe is by self-custodying it. And you could move it off of the exchange that you might have it on in a hot wallet into either a warm wallet, which you can download. An example is an Edge wallet or an Exodus wallet, EXODUS. With both the warm wallet and the cold wallet, you have a seed phrase that's similar to a password. It's going to be 12 or 24 words, depending on which wallet that you are choosing. And without the password, the seed phrase, no one would be able to go in and take your cryptocurrency and move it from one wallet to the next. So that's one way that you can protect it.
All right. Anybody else have anything they'd like to add to that?
All I can say is if we encourage people to have a node, because the more nodes we have, the better they are secure-wise.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right. Well, next to the stage here on Clubhouse, we have Rachel. Rachel, welcome to the stage.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. I've been enjoying the conversation. It's kind of been intermittently interrupted by different phone calls. So I have a couple of questions. As far as the live stream, and with Lamar, thank you so much. I looked at your IG, and I'm definitely looking into, because I'm fairly green to cryptocurrency. I've been spoken to by a couple acquaintances trying to get into things like Forsage. If anybody knows about Forsage, please. I've already heard. I haven't joined in, but I've already kind of saw the red flags and decided not to go into it. But it really kind of like it kind of like warned me off with cryptocurrency. Like I know that there's just, it's inundated with so much stuff, and I'm trying to understand and grasp it all. So I'm definitely going to take the Cryptocurrency 101 class. But as far as, and its big thing was EFTs and how it's spiking, and the acquaintances like, well, it's going. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have the money right now, but maybe I'll do it later. And it was like a big thing. So my question now is with the NFTs. And I have a lot of friends that are musical artists, and I'm just thinking about my son and how to he's 5, but like how to kind of just build that generational wealth and just kind of get myself up to scale with cryptocurrencies and then the NFTs and everything else I've even been looking into ways like different boot camps that are helping people learn how to code, or not code, but like build blockchain coding and things like that, because I really kind of want to get in on this on a certain level. So does anybody have any, after doing the Cryptocurrency 101 class, does anybody have any other suggestions on where to start researching?
Would that be, Rachel, for your child or for yourself?
Oh, for me, but for me, but
Okay.
for me initially, but
Yeah,
to
because
leave off for
we
him
have a
with the
few things
knowledge.
that I want to add to the conversation. So Charlene, Jakumi, and T Ma'at, they run a room here on Clubhouse Thursdays, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's teaching Bitcoin to the babies. So if you were wanting to, for example, learn how to explain this space to a toddler, you could go there and get some information on that. We also have a crypto kids camp that Miss Naja runs. 5 to, I want to say 17 years old. You can get your kids enrolled in the crypto kids camp. Several cities all around the country that you might want to consider. In that those two pieces of information would be if you were trying to get your son involved in the space, starting from 5 years old.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that was available, so I definitely would. We'll be relocating to Miami, so I'm not too sure if they're located there, or if it's available digitally.
Yeah, I think they might be on their way to cities all over the country. But Rachel, what you can do right now is there are a couple of really cute books on Bitcoin and blockchain that you can look at. So you can check out Blockchain for Babies by Chris Ferry. It's a really great book that breaks down blockchain in a very understandable way. You can check out a book called Bitcoin, the Future of Money. It's a kid's guide for volume 5. And what I love about this one is that it's by an author of color, and so there's a lot of diversity in the beautiful pictures in that book. So it talks about currency, the history of currency, and then kind of walks you through the value prop for Bitcoin. And then there's another book called Bitcoin for Babies that talks about blockchain basics and a lot of vocabulary. And then Fred Brandon has a book, and the name of the book escapes me, but if you look up Fred Brandon, he's one of the mods here, and he wrote a book that kind of talks about a little girl that got some cryptocurrency as well. So there are a lot of really cute resources that are out there. And absolutely, like Dr. Shalair said, please join our room. One of the coolest things that we did last week is that we had a couple of Jakumi's kids answer questions about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So I have a 7-year-old son, we're going to have our kids on stage. So if your 5-year-old son wants to ask us some questions, we are up for it. We'll happily bring him up to the stage and really just engage him on his level, because it's really about, at this point, it's about planting the seeds of curiosity so that they can continue to ask those questions. So we definitely welcome you to our room on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Please follow me and Jakumi and T Ma'at so you can stay connected to us.
I did.
And
Thanks, Charlene.
I would say
Yeah.
follow Naja as well, right? Because if you're trying to learn this information for yourself, we have Crypto Version Hour every day, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And then if you're more of a morning person, Dr. Shalair also hosts a room at 6 a.m., about 6 to 8 a.m. So you have a couple different entry points as well to, enhance your knowledge base and be able to get more of your foundational questions answered as well. So
yeah, and you can also go to cryptokidscamp.com as well. So that is the website for that camp that's happening all over the country, where kids are going to learn about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but also technology, right? They're going to be doing all kinds of coding and lots of fun activities. So just make sure that you jump on that website and get on their mailing list so that you can find out when they come to Miami.
Okay, so I have cryptokidscamp.com. Is that correct?
No, ma'am. CryptoKidsCamp.org. We are 501.
Okay.
Yeah, 501.
Oh, my bad. Thank you for that correction.
Okay, great. And then the 3 books, I missed the second one. You said Blockchains for Babies, Bitcoin for Babies, but what was the second one?
Bitcoin, the Future of Money.
Bitcoin, the Future of Money. Okay.
By Fred Brandon.
And the Future of Money. Yep, Fred Brandon. Researching that. Mm-hmm.
The one by Fred Brandon.
One more thing. What's the name?
Hold on. It's called Adopting Blockchain and Cryptocurrency.
No, he actually has
the children's book. Yeah.
His book.
The children's book.
Yeah.
Isn't
That's
it
what
like
I was
the
talking
adventures
about.
And then
Rachel, I would say follow Fred, and it is the adventures of a little girl. Misha, Adventures of Misha. So also check out that book. Thank you, Dr. Shalair, and everyone else.
And Dr. Shalair, your meeting in the morning is
so it's
6 a.m.
wake up
Eastern.
Yep, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we just open up with basic definitions. So it's like super, super baby food. Just what's a Bitcoin? What's an exchange? What's a Satoshi? Just all of the stuff that just definitions, so that when you go into these other rooms, you're like immersion, but now you have the definitions. So that's 6 to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday.
I appreciate these resources because for me, it's even, I'll try to just pop into an NFT room or a Bitcoin room, but you pop right into in the middle of a conversation.
Oh yeah, you're in the lion's den.
Even grasp, it's a totally different jargon, so I'm just trying to get hip to everything. So
yeah, I would definitely suggest that adopting blockchain and cryptocurrency for learning terminology and things like that. It's a really, really great book for that.
And you said adopting crypto
and adopting blockchain and cryptocurrency by Fred Brandon.
Okay.
If you PTR, pull to refresh, and then I'll put his bio as my picture temporarily. That way you can get those sites and those books, because there's adoptingblockchain.com, adventuresofmisha.com, and he has some other things there as well, like the cryptokidscamp.org. I know we're naming a lot of things, that way you can just reference it as well.
Yeah, that helps. Thank you. I just screenshot that. Thank you so much. Y'all are a wealth of knowledge, and I'm glad to be in this community. I also joined the Facebook group for Lamar as well. So I'm hoping to learn. Again, I know it takes time, but I appreciate all the resources for sure. And it's so cool that you all have these programs for young children too. So thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, each and every one of you, for all the resources that you gave. And hopefully that helped not only Rachel, but helped everybody else that's listening. So with that, we are going to go to Rajan. Rajan, welcome to the call.
Hey, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I just finished reading Zay's book, Bitcoin in Black America. And he stated that students can become the backbone of many crypto networks if they invest in mining softwares, and also that Black college students become profitable if they mine and stuff like that. And I was just wondering, how can I get started in something like this if it can be profitable towards me?
Are you saying how can you get started in mining?
How can this help me? Yeah, because he said mining can help a lot of Black college students. So I was wondering.
Well, we do have mining basics on Tuesday morning. Gabriel and a few other folks that are members of the Black Bitcoin Billionaires, they do have that room. That's 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And they discuss mining there. But I don't know if Gabriel wanted to go on. I know you're at work now. I don't know if you wanted to go on and hop in here.
What's work? Come on, I work for the government. I don't do nothing. But yeah, I was going to turn around and say it can be, and it can be profitable. For the fact is, especially if you're in, if you're in a dorm, you're not paying.
Yeah, I'm in a dorm.
Oh yeah, man, burn their electric bill out the box, bro. Do it, and buy something. And I could talk Tuesday. Matter of fact, you can DM me right after this or whatever, and I'll point you in the right direction. You can come up Tuesday. I'll also answer the questions. But yeah, you're in the dorm, man. I would break their circuit breakers out. That could be quote unquote free passive income for you, brother.
Rajan, I don't want you to tell me what school you at, but since I invest in some HBCUs, just make sure you're not burning out our electricity at our
Oh, Miss Sandra.
Take that.
Sounds like the opposite of what Gabriel's saying.
I'm just teasing Rajan, but go ahead. Yeah, DM him and get yourself going. So we appreciate that.
I will appreciate it. Gabe, I just DM'd you on Twitter just now.
Yeah, I just seen it. I'll answer you.
I will say this, right? It may be other cryptocurrencies as well that are worth mining, but not necessarily holding, right? Because the payouts and things of that nature, and they may be less energy intensive relative to Bitcoin as well, right? The hash rate and some other things. So it's different avenues to take. So I would not just limit your thinking solely to trying to mine for Bitcoin, which is one of the most expensive ones to mine for if you are not already in it as well. So I'll just leave it with that.
Okay. Do you have any like names that you would refer to me like? You said like Bitcoin.
Coin wise, I mean, there's certain
Yeah.
coins that might be profitable, but the point is, it's trying to acquire the hardware, and so all mining needs some type of hardware, whether it's a special design system called an ASIC, which is an application-specific integrated circuit system. It looks like a steel box. Could be the size of your laptop that has like a gazillion chips in there. And that's one. You could use, if you had a gaming computer, you could start with your gaming computer and use the GPU. You could do things like that. So like I said, yeah, man, I think I seen your stuff there, and I'm gonna hit you up on Twitter while I'm listening in over here.
All right, cool. Appreciate y'all.
All right, thank you.
I was gonna add just one more thing here. Yeah, and maybe tomorrow I'll add in a little bit a conversation, if it's okay with Gabriel, about Masternodes. That's another way that you don't actually need to acquire hardware.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and it's the same way, right? Some Masternodes can cost lots of money. Others may be less expensive, right? Ren, for example, they require you to have 100,000 of their tokens, and I think Ren at one point in time was like $1.50, right? So 150,000. But then there's some other ones that only require you to have 1,000 coins or 10,000. So then, and they're paying you passively. So it's various entrances into this, but the reason why we're just saying this is just to keep an open mind and give you some things to potentially explore.
All right, cool, man. I appreciate y'all.
All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
Oh, no, ma'am. I was just agreeing with you.
All right. Well, next we are going to move to Wimar. Welcome. Or Wimmer. Welcome to the call.
All right. Thank you so much. I would say the first time I joined the house, it has been very educative. The first time I joined, that was the first time I started stacking on my strategy on catch up, which has been good for me for the past days. I've started trying to learn, even though one of the reasons I joined the house was to understand the mining process. I'm not a student, I work, but I feel if I understand the way it goes, it is something I can do for a long time. Investment by stacking up a lot of Bitcoin for a generational wealth. So that's why I come into ask. I'm actually at work right now, but I know I can't get to learn from different people from the stage. I already hit up Gabriel Hop, but I still feel like let me put it on the stage so that everybody can hear about it. And I want to say thank you to the house for trying to educate every one of us. And me especially, I've really learned a lot from the house, even by listening. Some of the time I don't get to want to get on stage, but I've learned a lot. The house is really great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and we appreciate you as well. And thank you.
Wimar, I just want to say Bawoni, and that is a nice Agbaza that you got, brother.
All right, thank you, Eshegosa. Thank you so much.
That's what I'm talking
Love
about.
it.
That's what I'm talking about. Love it. Absolutely.
My
All
bad,
right.
y'all. My coach called me, but I appreciate all the things that y'all shared with me.
All right, Rajan. All right. So thank you, and we're gonna move to Sharif. Welcome to the call.
Peace, love, and light, family. How we doing? Everybody good?
Incredible. How are you?
We're good.
Blessed by the best. Another
Blacktastic,
day,
brother.
Looking at that's what I'm talking about. Looking at the roses, not the roots. That's what I tell them. But I'm just on. I appreciate all the knowledge that you all pass out about all the information. Just really quickly, and it may seem rudimentary, but I was wondering about the best platform for NFT. I'm a musician, I'm a singer, but I also do, visual art. Somebody mentioned something about our virtual reality glasses and those being a thing in this realm. So I'm just trying to put everything together for myself. And then lastly, this is kind of a side note. I went, Miss Naja, to your website to register to get some exchange going, and I just had a small hiccup. So if I could just get a little assistance with that after the questions, that would be appreciated, family.
Absolutely. Was it in your KYC process?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We will definitely take care of you. I don't know. There's been a little glitch the last couple of days, but we are on top of it this morning. So, yes, we can reach back out to you.
Thank you.
You are so welcome.
For NFTs, check out OpenSea and Rarible. Those are some of the top two entry places for artists and things of that nature. And then you have a host of other places. Nifty Gateway, depending on if you're trying to collect. NBA Top Shot is another place. But yeah, definitely check out OpenSea, Rarible. And then it is a gentleman on this platform that has an NFT foundation, if you will. His name is Amir, Ameer. I think his last name is Sabu, Sabyu, or something of that nature. But yeah, you can definitely check him out. Yeah, Amir Carter is his last name. And you'll be able to tap in with him and get further resources.
All right. Thank you for that, Ryan. And Sharif, I sent you a DM so you can have the over-the-counter exchange phone number. You can call them right now. Somebody's in the office to take that call. So just reach out and we'll get you squared away.
I appreciate you, family. Keep doing what y'all doing, man. This is beautiful, beautiful.
Absolutely. And thank you. Thank you. And next up to the stage, we have Stefan. Welcome, Stefan.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me up here. And I always have questions because I'm trying to learn in all of this. So two things that come to mind are I signed up for OpenSea and it immediately had me go to get a wallet at MetaMask first. But it didn't take me back to OpenSea where I had an account. And the reason I'm doing is I'm trying to help my uncle get his artwork up there. So that's number one. And I just heard somebody mention OpenSea. Is there something else I need to do to start posting his stuff there and at Rarible? And number two, just wanted to get y'all's idea on Rally, RALLY.io. They have a couple of coins that kind of really have my eye in how they're doing it and wanted to see what y'all thought about that. Those are my two questions. And Lamar and Miss Naja, it's amazing what y'all are doing. I've been watching you for years now, and it's extraordinary.
Thank you for that. Thank you. We appreciate you as well. Does anyone have any comments about the platforms or the coins that he's speaking about?
I don't use the Rally platform that he's asking about the coins on. I didn't hear him name the name of the coins, but I don't have or use Rally.
It's called Women X, like women with an X in it coin.
Yeah, man. So a lot of those things are gonna look shiny, but the majority of us are in this for like long term, and some of those might not be for long term store of wealth, and it definitely might not be considered an asset. So some of us are not in it for quick gains, so we wouldn't be paying too much attention to newer coins as such as the one you're speaking on.
So those are short-term things then.
Yeah. That's like a little short, quick in and out type thing.
Got
it. The one thing I could suggest real quick though, Stefan, is when you're looking at these altcoins, whether they're new or not, the best way to gauge them for yourself to feel comfortable, if you feel like taking your money to go into it, is you really have to research their use case, their white paper, their community. There's so much other things in there to research that you feel that they have done their job to educate you on why you as an individual should invest in what they're doing.
And I'll follow up with that, right? Look up they should have an active GitHub. They should have active, social media channels, whether that's a Telegram, a Discord group, or something like that. Because what typically has happened in the past as well is that a lot of these coins are just really copycatting code from another project and then making some minor changes to it and not really doing anything that is unique, innovative, or even, following their roadmap, right? So you want to be in tune with that because people can have really great marketing schemes. We've seen that with so many coins and some greater than others in particular, like Justin Sun, with Tron and BGT and all of these other things of that nature, right? So you want to make sure that they're really doing what they say that they're doing and that the community, whatever community that they have, is behind them and really active. If not, I would definitely, be cautious of that project and potentially steer clear of it as well.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I was slow in looking at it until Christina Holder, I think is the lady's name, and she is the third largest group on Clubhouse and a really massive Slack, all of those other social media following. That's really what made me look at it and what she's doing for women in business and stuff. So it was more about her. But again, I'm researching.
And Stefan, I'm familiar with the Rallycoin. So the Rallycoin specifically was created for creators to monetize their own individual communities, right? So you have all of these influencers tokenizing their own audiences and allowing people to buy in to earn rewards. So that's very different than like a Bitcoin, which is a store of value where countries are using it as their currency. And so, it's really, I am familiar with Christina. I know she has a huge presence on Clubhouse. So I believe that she might be creating that coin to continue to monetize and offer rewards within her community. And so you just, like all of the other folks said before, you have to just really try to think, is that a long-term investment? What's the use case of that coin? What kind of value am I getting into it? What value am I earning if I invest in it, right? Even if it's a penny, that's a penny of your hard-earned money. So you really have to think hard to ensure that there's going to be some sort of long-term use case for you to give your money to purchase that coin or token.
Got it. Oh, yeah, that helped a whole lot. I see what you're saying, and I hadn't thought about that.
And then I know you had a really specific question about NFTs, so I don't think I can answer your question, but I do know that on OpenSea.io, there's a resource called the NFT Bible. And from my understanding, it's one of the best holistic resources for NFTs. And so I'd say maybe start there in terms of trying to answer the question of whether or not you need to take another step after your MetaMask.
Got it. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
MetaMask, you definitely need to make sure though that you have ETH. The reason why they connect into MetaMask a lot of times, because at one point in time that was a great ETH wallet. They also have other wallets that you can connect to, like Wallet Connect, which will get you like with Trust Wallet or whatever. You just need to make sure that you have enough ETH up there to facilitate the transactions, as well as just make the secure connection.
Got it. Thank you.
And Charlene, I want to thank you for that very eloquent, diplomatic explanation about why that coin may be into existence. That was awesome. That was awesome.
Y'all sound like you know a lot more than me, so I'm listening. I'm hearing what you're saying.
Oh man, she said it fabulously. So
thank you.
That was great. Thank you. All right, so Stefan, thank you for your questions, and we're going to move on to Masood. Masood, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. You guys are providing a great platform for education on all things Bitcoin. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I actually have two questions. One is people are talking about dollar cost averaging. Can somebody give me an example of that? And also, my number two question is the Masternode. I'm not sure if anybody asked this question. How is somebody being able to get passive income from that? Thank you.
So if you
go ahead, Doc. Go ahead, Doc.
So if we're talking about dollar cost averaging is simply putting a predetermined amount of your US dollars or whatever your current currency that you're using into the cryptocurrency space. So if you were, for example, on the Cash App platform, there's a space on the Cash App platform that allows you to make recurring purchases. On Cash App, you can put in $10 every 2 weeks, $10 once a week, or $10 every day. On several platforms, that dollar cost averaging is going to be available to you. I believe that Swan Bitcoin is another onboarding platform that you can do that dollar cost averaging. So no matter what the price of Bitcoin is, you're purchasing the set amount that you have determined on certain intervals.
Yep. And just to follow up with that, right? The power of dollar cost averaging is that it typically takes the emotions out of purchasing, right? And allows you to be able to put money in typically on a consistent basis. So then you're building up your holdings, right? And this works in the traditional markets and everything else. There's a saying that says time in the market is better than timing the market. So what happens is a lot of times people say, oh man, Bitcoin is going to drop down some more, so I'm going to wait until that point, or this stock is going to go down to this price, so I'm going to wait to that point. And then it may not reach that point, right? And then it shoots up, and then they're afraid to buy again because in their mind they hope that it's going to go down lower. So dollar cost averaging takes the emotions out of investing. And then they have a second piece called dynamic dollar cost averaging, whereas you can say, hey, if something does get to X price, I'm going to buy more of it, right? So that's another metric to be able to use as well. And then as it relates to masternodes and things of that nature, a lot of times once you have a certain number or amount of a particular coin, especially if it has like proof of stake, then you get rewarded for holding it. And then those rewards is what gives you the passive income, right? So right now, Ethereum is shifting to proof of stake. So outside, just holding it, right? If you have 32 ETH, which is the standard, but they have websites that you can get less. You'll get like 6% or 5% or something like that from your holdings. That number does vary though, based upon, the pools and all that other stuff like that. But if you just look up masternodes and being able to get paid from them, or staking rewards, you'll find a lot of resources there that'll be able to explain to you what you need. And again, it varies by coin and your computer or system that you're using, but most of them must stay open for a certain amount of time per day in order to get those rewards. So hopefully that helps. So this is Ryan, and I'm done speaking.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. And next to the stage, we have Joan. Joan, welcome to the stage.
Hi. Thanks for having me. I just wanted to make a comment before when you guys were discussing NFTs and if they have like a future or not. And actually, I think there's a huge potential with NFTs. I think we're just kind of seeing the beginning. Like Top Shots or Beeple's $69 million artwork gets a lot of attention. But I think if you think of NFTs as just representing digital assets, you can kind of see that there's a lot more use cases for philanthropy, for gaming, for representing certification and licensing. I think there's actually like a huge potential for NFTs in this space. I don't think it's something that's going to go away anytime soon.
Thank you for your input in that, Joan, and I feel the exact same way. So thank you very much for that. All right, next to the stage, and we're getting close to our 10 o'clock hour where I know that Lamar is usually getting off of Facebook and YouTube. So we will go ahead and I don't know, is there anybody else that's on both Facebook that can maybe quarterback that, because Lamar had to step off? If not, we're going to go to Sathim. Is that how you say it? Sathim?
Yeah, Satyam.
Sathim. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. I've actually been a part of the stage before on Saturday, and I had a great talk with T-Mac the other day. And I'm actually a high school senior, and I'm trying to grow my following when it comes to cryptocurrency. I've been pretty knowledgeable in this space for the past 5 years, but I always want to like learn more and grow and be able to help young people grow in this space. And I was just wondering, like, how would you like going in this space and be able to teach people about crypto?
You could just talk to your friends. I mean, you grow your following by adding value to people, right? So when you're talking to people and you're explaining Bitcoin to them and you're tweeting out things and you're using your Facebook or your IG or whatever platforms you're using, that's how you're going to grow your following. If that is your goal, it sounds like your goal is you want people to follow you. So that's how you would do it, by providing value. And that's how we've grown this club. We see that people need information. We provide information. So we're not pandering to them or anything. We're just saying, if you want the information, come find it over here. You could do the same thing. There's a girl on here, Miss Teen Crypto, that does the same thing. And she sends out information on her platforms. Join these kinds of groups and join in the conversation, and people will naturally be drawn to you because you're adding value to their lives.
And
yeah.
And one of our Crypto Kids Camp staffers that's listening to this call down somewhere in the audience just ran in and said they would give you an opportunity to make sure that you're giving out the right information, but they would allow you on the Crypto Kids Camp platform to maybe do some informational videos and stuff like that, which will help you build your following as well. So we're open to that. So you can reach out. Just go to cryptokidscamp.org, and I think there's there's somebody there. Put in your stuff in the chat, and somebody will get right back to you. And again, they'll help you put your videos together, and then they'll let you post on our platform. We have a pretty large following.
Hi, Mr. Actually, I recommended him to you and to Lamar. I thought that the Crypto Kids Camp would be a good opportunity. So yes, Satyam has he's really he's really motivated, and he's been studying pretty intently about cryptocurrency. So I wanted to harness that energy to to help spread the education to the young people.
Here's one thing that I will quickly add as well, and I'm traveling through a tunnel, so I'm not sure if people can hear me. But Satyam, I did see in your profile when you said you are a Bitcoin maximalist. Absolutely nothing wrong with that piece, but make sure that you are, becoming knowledgeable about the entire cryptocurrency space as well, because then that will help with your following, and then you can still leverage, that perspective about Bitcoin and stuff to be able to tell other people, right? Like, why Bitcoin over XYZ projects, or why Bitcoin in general, right? But I would say to most people now, especially with the interest in NFTs, with the interest in staking, you still want to become knowledgeable of the broader space as well. And then, follow people like Bitcoin Zay and others, CJ the Smart Guy, all of these people that have other platforms too, that are doing the work, have followings already, and then see the dynamics or roadmap that they're taking, and then see how you can adapt it for yourself as well.
I have another suggestion, Satyam. If you you know about the Bitcoin conference in Miami?
No, I'm not sure about the Bitcoin conference in Miami.
So networking is a good way to actually, help out, meet the movers and shakers, gain knowledge, and to, get some help, it's a mentorship to build your following.
Did you say you were 15?
No, I'm 18.
Oh, you're 18. Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, that same conference that he's talking about in Miami, we will be there with the mini pop-up of Crypto Kids Camp right on site for that conference. So if you happen to be able to make it to Miami, we will have children of individuals who are participating in the conference. We are setting up right now with them to do a Crypto Kids Camp on site. So we would love to have you out there as well.
You doing volunteers, Ms. Naja, to work the table?
Anybody who'd like to, we'd love to have you. Well, we're actually doing a mini camp.
Okay.
So we'll have drones that they're going to build and stuff because it's only a couple days. So we're going to do a mini pop up.
Yeah, I was thinking somebody, Satyam, if you can, get those details. I think they're in Quavo. Did you have those details for the conference?
Say it one more time. You talking about the details for the conference in Miami?
Yes.
It's just basically going to be a crypto conference. They have a crypto conference every 3 or 4 years there. So this one's going to be like the biggest one in 2021.
I was talking about like the registration link.
Oh yeah. You just go to Google and you don't actually have to attend the conference to do what we're doing, but you can go buy a ticket at the Bitcoin Miami conference. You just go to Google and type in Bitcoin Miami conference, and the website will pop up.
It's B.
I'm tweeting that conference out now.
But
It's B.
we have a discount code.
Yeah, it's
Don't we?
it's B.
Naja, could you pass that? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Can y'all hear me?
I hear you now.
I'm trying to give the information now. Lord have mercy.
Go ahead.
It's b.tc/conference. So the website is b.tc/conference. And the code we have is BBB, and it'll get you 21% off. So if you use the code BBB, you can get 21% off your tickets.
Yeah, I'll definitely.
Hey Lamar, did you get locked in on that for what you was supposed to do?
I'm speaking. They just haven't put me up yet. I just gave them my headshot just recently, so I might be up on the site soon.
All right, appreciate that discount too. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, man.
So b.tc/conference.
Yep, b.tc/conference. And it's BB. Use the code BBB.
All right, I'll definitely look into that. Maybe plan a trip down there soon. And yeah, Ryan, I definitely understand your point, and I have been getting pretty educated in like Ethereum and Cardano, many of the other coins, but I'm still growing my knowledge on that, and maybe we could talk privately sometime about other coins and other cryptocurrencies.
And real quick, since we talked about the conference and we do have the discount tickets, I'm not representing Bitcoin 2021, but I want to make sure that you all know that if you do not register by April the 2nd, the price jumps up an additional $60, I think. So just make sure that you know that as you wait, the ticket prices continue to go up every month. So just be aware of that as well.
All right, thank you. And I really like what you guys are doing, and I love this space. It's probably one of the best groups and rooms I've been in. The nicest people and the most humble and accepting. I really want to thank you guys.
Well, thank you. And you know, I have to agree with you on that one.
Yeah. No, I've been in many rooms, and you guys are the most down to earth and accepting, and you guys make everyone feel like part of the community, and that's really amazing. And I love what you guys are doing.
Oh, thank you, brother. And with that said, man, that's a great segue for me to go ahead and get this thing. Hey, so yes, this concludes the Genesis block for this Monday. What is it? March the 29th. I am your host, along with Miss Naja Roberts. I am Lamar Wilson, Big Mar. Thank y'all for coming out to the Genesis block. Make sure you come back next week at 11 a.m. Eastern to hear all the latest in the news, and we'll discuss topics that are concerning what's going on in the Bitcoin world and cryptocurrency space. So, thank y'all, and shout out to everybody on Facebook. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all tune in next time, and we shall see you later. Live love, love life. If you live love, you'll love your life. Thank y'all and have a great day. Later.